Aji told Grts that the skyrocketing of food prices is having a heavy toll on all families, especially the poor, who are compelled to spend all their meager earnings in observance of the obligatory month of fasting. The issue of high prices of food commodities has now become an issue of great concern to many people. The question people are asking is, why does it have to happen in the month of Ramadan that traders increase their prices instead of reducing? Aissatou Badiansar, GRTS.
The Canifing Municipal Council are participating in a two-day sensitization forum on a European Union-supported project that seeks to strengthen transnational partnerships and networks, thereby enhancing participatory local governance. AJMCC reports the project, which also engaged other local government authorities in a similar forum, is operating in 2 other African countries.
Local governments tasked to render development capacities at grassroots levels occupy a considerable role in social hierarchy. With the interest of enhancing growth, the work of local governments tend to have the potential to strengthen the advancement of projects at community level, which propels the need for stronger communication between the council and the masses. In essence, the transnational partnership and networks for enhancing participatory local governance project took off this year to capacitize local governments in the proper and effective management of projects.
As local government practitioners, we have signed a contract between us and those that we represent. We are like servants to the people.
The EU-funded project, being transnational based, has Ghana and Zimbabwe in participation, which will also serve as a tool that can better unite Africa and promote economic integration.
The main aim is to prepare local government authorities, to capacitize them, to build their capacities, to bring about networking, to bring about participation, to bring about partnership between local areas.
As widely agreed that local governments in Africa lack greater awareness in the roles they play, this phenomenon is believed to hinder the effectiveness of their operations. As for the Gambia, diminishing revenue base is an added problem which has slowed the pace at which the local governments operate.
Preliminary among them is weak institutional and human capacity to be able to deliver effectively services to their local communities.
Strengthening transnational partnerships and network for enhancing participatory governance is a venture that will undoubtedly promote awareness on the roles local governments should play, which may also boost the level at which they've been operating in the previous years. For GRTS News, I am AJMCC.
Wood carving is arguably one of the oldest forms of art in Africa. The industry, which entails a great deal of creativity, continues to withstand the forces of modernization. Wooden masks and sculptures were also prominent features of many African societies, but are now a source of tourist attraction and employment for many locals. Let's go with this report on how the trade in carved items is doing. The history of wood carving has for ages been the decoration of wood as the foremost art. The tendency of human nature has always been to ornament every article in use. Figurework seems to have been universal. The texture of the material, too, offers challenging to the expression of features, especially in the classic type of youthful face. As a dealer in wood carving for over 2 decades, this man explains that wood carving as a form of art includes any kind of sculpture in wood, from the decorative bas relief on small objects to life-size figures in the round furniture and architectural decorations. For him, these carvings represent who we are as Africans and go a long way in reminding others of the continent's cultural heritage and artistic values. Many tourists buy these items as reminiscence when going back to their respective countries. The Musukeba Drame Craft Market is one place dealers in this form of trade patiently wait to sell their craft items. Having worked at the Fajara Craft Market before starting his 22 years of acquaintance with this craft hotspot, Mbaye Job feels business at this time of the year is not rosy.
Business before legi dal daf ñu xala jaaxal de because business bi na meloon bu njëkk ba ak léegi ni moo doxee dafa ute trop parce que bu njëkk ba ñun fii dañ daan toog dañ daan am ay boss yu nga xam ne boss yu mag si ay ñetti boss de si waaye léegi business bi dafa dem ba nga xam ne fi mu nekk nii dool na trop.
Mbaye went on to appeal to the tourism authorities look into the possibility of identifying specific areas as tourist shopping centers. When asked if the same kind of carved items been in the market for a long time could be blamed for the low level of sales, this is what he had to say.
Seetloo bu baax items yi ñu ngi change ndànka du yëpp a change at the same time waaye ñu ngi change because am na yeneen façon yi masque yu nga xam ne yu ees lañ yi nga xam ne amuñ fi woon ñu ngi soog a ñëw am nañ yeneen façon yi articles yu nga xam ne daanu fi am léegi mu ngi am so léegi ñu ngi try di yokk suñ xam-xam tuuti pour mun a change affaire bi.
To carve a figure in wood is not only difficult, but also less satisfactory than sculpting with marble, owing to the tendency of wood to crack, damaged by insects, or to suffer changes in the atmosphere. Dealers in this form of art are patiently hoping that with a change in carved items, tourists will be more attracted to their products. This, they believe, can only be successful with support from the authority. For GRTS News, I am Aisha Tudabo. Banjul City Council recently took delivery of an assortment of materials used for cleaning from the National Disaster Management Agency. The development follows what observers are calling a renewed determination on the part of Banjulians to be at the forefront of efforts to guard against disasters.
The Disaster Committee has been very active. And not only Banjul City Council Disaster Committee, but all the disaster committees in this country have been very active. You remember recently we went round on a tour. The Vice President went down on a tour to visit some of the hotspots where we are doing some infrastructure work. And another visit was conducted by the Minister of Interior and the Minister of Forest and Environment, who are members of the Governing Council, together with council members. And we are very impressed that the Banjul City Council have taken ownership, because we are always advocating for ownership. And they have taken ownership and responsibility of disaster interventions. And this is the idea behind decentralization of disaster activities.
Because when we talk about disaster risk reduction, particularly in Banjul, we talking about the prevention of floods and flooding. And when we talk about prevention of floods and flooding, we talk about the drains. So they are coming with the right equipment and the right tools to complement whatever we are doing. So I have to really thank the NDMA through their dynamic executive director, Mr. Khan, on behalf of the entire people of Banjul, the Disaster Management Committee of Banjul, and the council. We are very appreciative of the gesture that they have taken to give us all these materials, and I can assure you that it will be very useful in our drive to make Banjul a flood-free city.
Well, you can follow news reports as well as other GRTS programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS Radio Live. We'll go for our first break. Stay tuned with more stories.
And whosoever can afford should visit the house on a pilgrimage as duty to Allah. Whosoever denies should remember that Allah is independent of the people of the world. This year, Africell is offering you the chance to travel to Mecca to perform the fifth pillar of Islam, Al-Hajj. Yes, 12 free air tickets to Mecca are there for you to win, including travel allowance and accommodation. Simply recharge the $100 scratch card or e-voucher to enter the weekly draw and get the chance to win a free full Hajj package to Mecca. Yes, 12 Africell subscribers will have the opportunity to travel to the holy city of Mecca. Recharge $100 credit and get the chance to win an all-expenses paid trip on the journey of faith to the holy city of Mecca with Africell. May all your prayers be answered.
Welcome back. Government troops and those of the African Union have started taking control of areas that were once controlled by the Islamist group Al-Shabaab in the Somali capital Mogadishu. And the wife of the U.S. Vice President Joe Biden has arrived in Kenya to examine the famine and humanitarian aid crisis there, as Washington pledges more than $100 million to help victims of the drought that threatens the survival of some 12 million people. We have details of these and other stories in this African News Roundup.
In the Somali capital, Mogadishu, government troops and African Union soldiers are continuing to take charge of neighborhoods which the radical Islamic Shabaab groups pulled out of this past weekend. They are being slowed down by occasional snipers. To those Shabab remaining in the capital, the transition government